What's up, guys? How's it going? MikeTheTech here, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the PS5 HD camera, and more importantly, is it worth the $60 or is it not? The answer is complicated. If you want to stream from the PS5, then it is absolutely necessary. Worth it is a strong word. Necessary is the better word because only this camera works with the PS5. Nothing else will work. So the only other alternative to stream from your PS5 with a camera is to connect it into a computer. That being said, is it great? Not really, not yet anyway. Hopefully, with some even software updates that I'll talk about in this video, this camera could be great. But unfortunately, at the moment, it is a little far from it. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Before we get started, I want to give a huge shout out to everyone who's been subscribing and hitting that thanks button. It's very much appreciated. My sub count is abysmal. I get 99% of my views from unsubscribed viewers, and I would love to change that. So if you want to click on that sub button and get more videos like this, that would greatly help me, and it would be very much appreciated. Let's go ahead and jump into the video itself. The camera. What's good about it and what's bad about it? The good thing about it is a fairly good camera. If I go over here to our captures and broadcasts, I can go into broadcasts and go to my camera, and it's a little high. Let me lower that a little bit. All right, so it's a good camera. It looks nice and it works the way you'd expect it to. One problem I noticed off the bat is I have LED lights, and these LED lights are they flicker at 50 hertz. So the camera has to switch from 50 hertz mode to 60 hertz mode, and this does not have a power line switching function. So if it is not set up properly, you're out of luck, and you're going to get scan lines going up and down your video. On mine, it happens once in a while, but it seems to switch based on where the focus is, so I'm kind of okay for now. But we have a few different things we could change here. We could do small, medium, or large to have it show up on the screen. And then we have clipping masks. Now this is where things get a little unfortunate. Very sad. We have our circle one. That works cool. Square works fine. Hex works great. And then it gets a little sketchy. So let's do chroma key first because I have a green screen background. So my background should just disappear. Unfortunately, it looks like this. And when I move my hand, when it color focuses, it doesn't really work that great. It's cutting out my shirt a lot and things like that. And you can't actually choose what color is going to be clipped. So it's really just choosing either red or blue in the background and removing it, but it doesn't do a great job at detecting what's what. And honestly, a lot of the time, I'll actually see green in my background flickering while my own t-shirt, which is black, disappears. And if I adjust the level here, it just makes me disappear even more. So that's not great. But okay, maybe I don't need to use the full chroma key, even though I painted my wall to use it. Um, this is a 3D depth sensing camera. There's two cameras on it, has a left and a right, and when you calibrate it, it detects where you are in the scene. So we can use an auto key, where it's automatically going to cut out our background like magic. Except it's not. So you can clearly see my background and the time it takes to calculate where you are in the scene in order to actually chroma key it out or auto key it out, and it is not great. You can clearly see the background. If maybe you had a dark background, it wouldn't be as noticeable. And maybe in my stream, I want to just say I'm glowing toxic, and that's why I'm green, and that might be a cool effect. But this is not a background replacement tool, unfortunately. We can change the depth to try and get this a little bit better, but it just doesn't do a great job. And even when you get it pretty close on, it still takes way too long to actually adjust. So unfortunately, the auto key does not work that well. and the chroma key isn't great either. This could easily be fixed in software. All you have to do is give us a color picker and let us pick from our own webcam the background color we want to remove, and then set a tolerance for it. Just like in every other program, OBS, everything has it. There's a tolerance level that you can choose to adjust, and you can pick the specific color. The other thing that makes the chroma key broken, essentially, and I'm surprised this wasn't thought about, is there is no feature to turn on or off auto white balance. So if the scene gets darker, the background color changes and all of a sudden it's visible again, just like it did right now. Perfect timing, because it auto white balanced and it changed the background color. And now all this green is shining through, even though I have a green chroma key on. So, I mean, it just doesn't work. It's just, there's no way to adjust that on our end to actually fix that. So we can't use it. But otherwise, I mean, I'm using it. It's just not going to look great in game. So let's go into the rest of the features. We could flip it horizontally based on where you have the camera. I have it to my left, so I leave it on the left. You can add effects, which are kind of cool. So there's like comic, pixelate, scan lines, which is kind of nice. I actually like that one because it gets rid of some of the background noise a little bit. Toy camera and monochrome. We can also adjust the brightness, contrast, and transparency. But again, all of these don't affect the automatic white balancing. So even if you get this all set up perfect and you have it how you like it, as soon as something else happens in the scene, the colors are adjusted again and it's out of whack again. So it doesn't quite work the way I would hope it to. And I've already calibrated the camera multiple times. And it's just, this is what we get. So let's look at what else we can do with it though. Let's look at how we can actually use it when we're streaming, because there's another issue that isn't really talked about, and that's the placement of your camera and how you're visualizing it when you're playing. So I'm going to go into a game. I'm just going to go into Horizon, and I'm going to start streaming. And let me actually get into the game first so that I don't misspeak. All right, so we're going to go to broadcast, and we're going to go to a private live broadcast and go live. And now we can place our camera wherever we'd like. I'm going to place it there. And we're in the game. Unfortunately, not only is your chat seeing this, but you are as well. So if you have user interface elements on the bottom left that you need to see while you're playing the game, your own webcam is going to be covering that. So you can't actually see this corner. So you might have to move it to another corner based on the game you're playing. Like if in Fortnite you need to see your user interface on what weapon you have, you might not be able to keep it there. So that's a weird issue that shouldn't really be necessary. I understand it because it's outputting exactly what your stream is going to see, which might be necessary for processing. But it is unfortunate that you actually see your camera on front of the screen. I kind of like that you can see your chat because it does have your chat in the corner. And when people are chatting, it shows up on screen over the game. And that's kind of cool to be able to read that while you're playing. But having your own camera over it isn't the norm in the streaming world. Normally, you would have your game screen without anything, and your streaming setup in OBS. That's where you would have the overlays and everything enabled for the stream. But it's a minor annoyance, but I mean it works. The other thing is the webcam isn't perfectly on the bottom of the screen. This is fine if it's a square webcam, but for the cutout, it would make sense if I was actually on the bottom of the monitor, but there's always this line underneath me which takes off. I feel like it takes from the effect of the green screen and chroma key to begin with. But that's just a small gripe. I mean, everything else looks and works fine. And honestly, for $60, it's not that expensive. It really isn't. It's most webcams from Logitech are 80 to 150. maybe 200 for the higher end ones that are like 4K or something. But the actual camera itself is only 60, which is good. I mean, it's not a bad price. It's just not a great execution. But because it's the only option we have for the PS5, I gotta say it's worth it. If you want to stream from the PS5, this is the camera you got to get. Hopefully, they will update the software or even release a 4K camera, maybe with some of these issues addressed. But until then, this is what we got, and kind of take it or leave it, right? Let me know what you think of this camera and if you think it's worth it in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day. Peace. What? You've never heard of Stream Savers? And you thought PewDiePie was the only YouTuber to make a game? I made a game too, and it's called Stream Savers, and it's available for pre-order right now for $9.99, and that's a great price.